What's up with you, bros?
Welcome to the final cut.
If you guys didn't get a chance to see our last episode, we basically talked about a really large hodgepodge of a bunch of information. Some of it necessary, some of it not necessary.
A lot of it not necessary.
So, if you haven't checked it out, go check it out. We were talking to a couple people, and upon, funny enough, Brewer's request, he DM'd me on the WBP page. He thought that this was a really cool idea and that we shouldn't postpone it until the house is built.
So we're in the house technically.
And it's technically not built, even though, you know, it
It's all
exists.
right. Yeah, it's here. Close enough.
So this is actually my office space. We'll try and do a home tour later on, maybe if anyone actually cares about that. But this is my office space that we'll probably end up taking over to use,
As a podcast room or whatever.
have something a little bit more professional. So
Yep. So I think in today's episode, what we had in mind, since we kind of just covered a broad topic of stuff, I think we're just gonna eventually get to like all of that separately. Just do each podcast as something we talked about there. But today we're gonna talk about our past experience, or not past experience, but our recent race, our recent GNCC race, the Mountaineer, that happened a couple weeks ago now. Because I think, or we think that would be a cool thing to talk about. It's always fun going up and doing GNCC. Something we both enjoy, something I really enjoy. So
yeah, kind of like a race recap, just kind of the stuff that might not have made it to the final cut playing into this, because there's some stuff that did get edited out, and then there's also some stuff that didn't
we
get
didn't
to
even
the video.
film.
Yeah, because the camera either died or it just didn't seem like a time to record or whatnot. So,
Yeah,
what would you like to talk about first? You want to talk about like the ride, or do you want to talk about like the stuff at the event,
yeah.
or
We can. I guess we can start from that morning because we are a ways away from West Virginia. That
about
is a ride.
six
Not a
hours,
about 6.5.
6.5?
Well, to the Mountaineer. Um, it was not that bad of a ride to be honest
Hmm.
with you. It was just honestly, we woke up at 2:30 and left about 2:45. So that wasn't terrible, but I would prefer not to wake up at 2:45. Um, and you didn't say a word until about 5 o'clock.
Yeah, I had stayed up doing school till about 12 o'clock, and then as soon as 2:30 rolled around, I probably shouldn't have even tried to go to sleep at that point. Just down an energy drink, and then
Continue on with your day.
pretty much, I mean, I didn't even sleep at all. So that kind of played over into like some stuff that did or didn't get recorded because I kind of had the camera up front. So it's pretty much just once the sun started coming up, and we went through different places. It was kind of like, yeah, that looks cool.
Wow. Yeah, it was definitely a good ride though, all things considered. That we towed it with the Ram, the our what is it, 20 or 21 foot enclosed trailer, one of the two. Um, which it wasn't bad hauling 3 4 wheelers, all the camping stuff. Pretty good ride. We only stopped for fuel,
I think it was like twice on the way up.
twice on the way up and twice on the way back.
I think
Right?
so.
Yeah. So it wasn't bad all in all. Um, and it was cool for me because I've never been to the mountains. So that was like I'm sitting in the back seat, just like, wow, big hill, wow, just looking around the entire time, and you and your dad were just like telling me I need to go to Dolly Willie y'all.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Actually, funny enough, I had an issue with I wouldn't necessarily call it an issue. The best way I can explain it is that technically I'm a cheapskate, so I don't like toll roads. So because of the GPS and how I have all
Oh
my
yeah,
stuff programmed, it sent us a different way than we should have. Coming from the direction that we do, you're supposed to like take 77 all the way up to the Mountaineer, where Mountaineer Race is at the Boy Scouts retreat. And it ended up taking us through what was it, downtown Winston Salem, which my dad was freaking out because it was like it went
we
from a
we
4 lane highway to like a 2 lane highway.
yeah we barely missed morning traffic. I think we got there about 5:36, and that's when people really started coming out,
Stopped
and
at the Mickey D's.
we were like, oh crap, we need to go. And but luckily we got out of there. Another thing that your GPS did, which I thought this is what you were talking about, but it's not, is you took us down the most back road, like
uh,
West Virginia looking thing I've ever seen. Like you talk about stereotypical mountain man West Virginia roads. That's what they were.
Yeah, it was literally just like a steep uphill bit, the road, and then nothing. You fall, you're done for. And yeah, we went down all of those,
And
which
you've
was
got
very
and you've
interesting.
got houses. They're not even houses. They're just buildings with maybe someone living inside. I don't know.
Yeah, some of the stuff through there was like boarded up, and if it wasn't boarded up, it looked like it was unhospitable. But
Like I was looking for the mountain man the entire time. I didn't see him luckily, but
yeah, that's Bigfoot's. It just be Bigfoot, some hairy guy on the side of the hill somewhere.
yeah,
Oh, and then we got lost because we came in on the wrong side the very first time we went. So the stuff that looked familiar was wrong because we went on the other side. So once we got down a hill, we were getting ready to go to the opposite side of the Boy Scout retreat, which is really long if you've ever been there.
yeah. I kept telling you, I'm like, I think we should have turned right at this bridge. You're like, no, it's okay. We know it. I'm like, no. I'm looking. I see the tent down there, and you're like, oh,
Yeah, there was some stuff through the woods as we were coming around a corner, and turns out it was off that direction, not the split that we had went. Because there's a little when you're coming down it, there's a little dam or like a little a dam with a
like a
water
water
reserve and stuff
reservoir.
like that. And the last time we went there, it was on our right side as we were going through. So I was thinking, it was on the right side, so we need to go that way. It'd be on our left side, it'd be fine. And then, to be sure, we ended up going the wrong direction. And then when
Nah,
we finally got situated, was when we
I
just
looked.
did nothing.
I looked at the GPS. I'm like, yeah, we need to go that way, and we had to do like an 8-point turn around in like this tiny little hill, or not hill, but like just this little road.
Yeah,
And
we Gur 3-point turn that sapsucker.
yeah, you got it,
He's a
easy.
certified forklift driver.
I mean, it really wasn't that bad of a turnaround. Like it
No,
wasn't that
but
bad.
it was enough to be sketch. I definitely wouldn't have done it. Not
Well, you wouldn't have done it either way.
exactly, like not at all. Never, ever, ever, never. Unless I absolutely have
You
to.
don't drive a trailer unless you absolutely have to.
Well, I mean, there's so many other qualified people. Why would I do that?
I
I
don't
mean,
know.
just have a good one, buddy. Or just take a nap in the back seat or something.
I'll make you drive it to our next trip.
Honestly, I wouldn't be too upset with that.
Yeah, going up them roads. Uh huh.
Well, the uphill downhill's not that bad. It's just the tight corners that makes me nervous.
Make you
Like,
park it.
yeah, parking's the problem. I backed it in the yard, but there's not a lot of obstacles in the yard.
Yeah.
So,
Watch out for the bladed grass.
yeah, that's pretty much the only obstacle I have to watch out for. And if I
Watch
run
out
over
for the
that, it's
ant
no big
hill.
deal.
Um, nah, but I guess since we've already made it there, and you probably, I don't know if this will be out before or after the GNCC vlog. Did we make a vlog?
I technically have one in the works. This will probably be after, just for timeline's sake.
Okay.
Because as of right now, the current standing of videos is his video's out, my video's out, Dad's is out. The two pro people that we're going to talk about in a little bit, their
Are
videos are
coming
out.
out. Yeah. Or no, they're out.
Oh no, one's not out yet. Just because it took me a little bit to edit that, and then I think linearly the unreleased Suzuki video is supposed to come out too.
Yeah, which was supposed to come out before we left.
Yeah, and
Didn't happen.
I got doubled down with school. I walked into a class and my professor was like, "Hey, you have a pop assignment due this week on top of all of the other 4 assignments that were due that week." I was like,
Okay.
"Dude, that's horrible." And he's like, "Listen, in life you have to juggle stuff." I was like, "Bro, you're talking to like a 20-year-old in a class full of 17-year-olds. I don't need to juggle anything else, buddy. I'm over here juggling knives and you're about to kill me with one of them." It was freaking stupid. Anyway, that's why I ended up staying up till like 12 because I was like assignment 1, assignment 7, and then by the time I was done with all of them, I was like pissed. So,
I mean, you got them done though. That's all that matters.
and I got a good grade on it too. Actually, I haven't checked the other ones. I probably got like a B on it maybe, but
Well, I'm
everything
glad.
else was decent.
Well, I'm glad I'm done with college. I just
Uh,
have to juggle work.
I got next summer.
Yeah.
Next
Well,
summer, 2024,
it's
baby.
not too long.
Whoop whoop.
Go by before you know it.
Hope so. It's going by like freaking nails on a chalkboard.
Yeah. But like I was talking about, since this will be coming out after the GNCC vlog, you'll see that we didn't really record anything while we were rolling into the camp,
Mm-mm.
um, which was not on purpose. We originally intended to, but the
Got
reason why
lost.
we got up, no, we didn't. Well, we got lost, but the reason why we left so early was we wanted to get a good parking spot to one camp around the track and have. Heck, that moth is huge. Um, but we wanted to camp on the track and have a good spot to pit. So we were looking, and we had seen some spots on some videos, and we were like trying to pinpoint where they're at. We're like looking at the track. I was jumping out the truck, like looking, seeing if anybody's parked there or where the track is running, and we finally found our spot after rolling around like half the camp. I looked, and we literally just could have taken the first, what was it, right. We could have taken the first right, and we'd have been fine. We just ended up parking in a like I think it was mile marker 1.5, which was really good because Lord, that's right after the rock garden
Yeah,
in there. If you guys have ever seen that race,
Monster Mile. Or if you
Monster
haven't, you
Mile,
can check out our video that
yeah,
you can see all that stuff there. It's literally the same channel you're watching this on.
yeah, go check those out. But it worked out really well because we had a spot to pit. We were right on the track. We helped some kid out in the not the micro, but like the younger kids, the ones that raced before us.
Well, at least tried to.
Well, I mean, we did. So what happened with that is we were all getting ready for that race that morning because we didn't really do anything the day before. All we did was get tools out, clean the bikes, SC1 them, all that, just lube the chains, that kind of stuff, just prep like normal.
Maintenance.
Um, not even maintenance, just prep work. But that morning we were all getting up, getting dressed. We were putting on our gear. I was putting on my boots at the time, and we were just watching the kids just run by. This was on their third lap, I believe, second or third lap. And one of the leaders in like the higher classes for the kids came running by, and he stopped right in front of our tent, and his bike shut off. So we're like, oh shoot, we need to go help this kid and see what's going on. Apparently, he had come to the race. Um, the drain bolt where the oil filter housing is, the cover, that the threads inside that stripped out somehow. I guess it happened before the race, but all of the oil from the motor leaked out all on the bottom. It was everywhere. Um, so I'm like looking around, seeing what's going on. I see oil everywhere, and I look and I see the bolt sticking halfway out. I'm like, oh crap, that ain't good. So I grab a wrench, try and tighten it back up, and I take the thing off of the motor while everyone's running by the dipstick. There's no oil on the dipstick at all. It is bone dry. And I, as soon as I took the dipstick out, I don't know if you saw it, but it was just smoke, just smoke coming out of the dipstick hole. I'm like, oh, this ain't good. And I asked the kid, I'm like, what oil you put in this? And he's like, I think he said like 10W50 or 20W50 or something. I'm like, we got 1040. And he's like, throw it in there. I'm like, all right. So we get a funnel and I dump like 2 quarts of oil in that thing, and it wanted to run, but that motor was toast. I felt bad too because the kid said he was, I think, second or third, or he no, I'm sorry, he said he was top 5 in the points um for his class, which sucked. But we did what we could. At least we got motor or oil running through the motor before it completely heated up and locked up. So
Yeah, that'd have been rough. Um, the only other thing that I think was like super interesting was that one of our subscribers from West Virginia, Levi Hall, he's actually advertised in that video for the Monster Mile stuff at the very beginning, like first couple seconds of it. Apparently, dude was going through the rock garden in like fourth and hit a tree, like destroyed his 250 frame, and was done that race. So that was interesting to say the least.
it's funny because the first time we met him at Big Buck, right?
Yeah, it was a big buck.
Yeah, Big Buck. He came rolling up to our tent. This was like in the middle of his race, and he goes, "Are y'all the Wheeler Bros?" We're like, yeah, because this is like our first time being recognized out in public. And he rolls up on his 250, and the back axle, like normally they're like, I can't make a good example. I guess I'll do it like this. The back axle straight like that. He came rolling up, and I believe it was the right side was like that. So his wheel was just wobbling like that. We're like, what the heck did you do? He's like, oh, I hit a tree. I'm like, what?
Just
How hard did
nonchalant.
you hit a tree? Like we beat the crap out of our 250, and nothing ever like that has happened to it.
And
Um,
he hit a tree again, but this time it was the frame.
yeah, he hit a tree hard, and and during well, I guess I'll get to that later. It was during our race, but I just think it's funny that every time we see him, something's broke because like he came up the first time. He's like, I told. He's like, or no, he was gonna go back and he was gonna tell his dad like, I told you so. I knew they were here.
Yeah, I gave him like 15 stickers.
And he still has some.
Yeah, he still has some of them, but that was like back before no one knew who we were. So it was
Well,
like our.
no one still knows who we are, but
Well, I mean, I've been recognized more commonly than before,
yeah,
but like obviously it's not as like prominent.
no,
But like that was our first time meeting someone and giving them stickers, so I was like, sure, I'll give you a bunch. It's not like we have 200 in the freaking glove box. So
yeah.
here's 15. Enjoy. And
Go hand these out to people.
I ended up giving him some more because we did a reprint. We went to the oval design, which I personally like a little bit
Different
better.
colors. Yeah.
Yeah, so he's got a couple of the green, the blue, and then the yellow as well. Our primary colors that we got rolling here. So
Yep.
super cool, super cool. But yeah, it was nice to see him again. Uh,
I only got to see him for like 2 seconds because when I pitted, he was at the tent.
yeah,
I'm like, who's that? And then I recognized him like a little after. I'm like, oh,
I
that
mean,
was Levi.
on one hand, I really enjoy seeing him, but on the other hand, I kind of wish that we didn't see him at a race because every time we see him, he breaks.
Yeah.
So, hopefully the luck will be on. You know what I need to do? I need to make a one of those like 4-leaf clover stickers with the Wheeler Bros name in the center of it. We'll slap it on your
No, we
bike.
need to give him the
Give you the
certified.
luck.
We need to give him the certified tree hugger
I
sticker.
still have that. That would be even better. But yeah, I'm gonna get with you about that. I have your phone number. If you're watching this, send me a text message because I might not remember it. Actually, I'll do that right now. Here,
You want a certified tree hugger sticker?
yeah. Here, you talk about something else. I'm gonna text this kid real quickly. I'm sorry. This is
Okay.
hilarious.
So we were right after. Yeah. Okay, but yeah, that was pretty much what happened. Oh no, I can say something that we did the day before. So, what's what were their names? I can't. James and
James and
Aiden.
Aiden.
James and Aiden.
161 James Berger and then
And 70.
704 Aiden Jones. They're both
Yes.
running the College B 16 to 20
16.
class,
Yeah.
which we are
Um.
now too old to run, or at least I am too old to run it now.
Yeah.
Kind of disappointing.
I will not be able to run that in like 4.5 months. Kind of sad. But I don't have a 450, so it doesn't even matter.
I
Um.
side note, just because you said that, so the Team Two Gill guy.
Yeah.
He comments on some of the stuff that we do with the Raptors.
Yeah.
So he commented on, I believe it was mine. He normally just comments like "good job," which I really appreciate because that's people that are constantly watching the videos just to take a look at it. So by the way, thank you if you ever get a chance to get to this. But regardless,
Yeah.
he said that we can technically run in any class we want to. That was just that one lady that didn't want us to run in it.
Oh
So
well.
technically, we can run in all those higher up classes, but it just
I don't wanna. I don't wanna be a liability. Like I
yeah,
wanna know what I have first.
I'm
I mean, I
sure
know what I have, and I pushed that Raptor to its absolute limit. But
I'm sure that's why she mentioned it though. It's more of like a liability thing where it's just like yeah, it'd be like a 4x4
she would.
running with the pros, that
She,
kind of thing.
she just didn't want to see a Raptor outrun 450s because
Damn
I'm doing it.
fighting words.
Because I'm doing it.
I am not. I'm hitting my ARM and
I
putting
hit mine
dents in it and
too.
going
I
slow
found I
somehow.
found it after we cleaned it. It's not as bad as yours. I don't know what the heck you hit.
A
You hit
rock
you
of
hit
some
you
sort.
hit you hit more than a rock. You hit a boulder.
I mean, I actually tried this. Like tried. Like I tried to go a little bit faster in places that made me a little bit more uncomfortable. I mean, towards the end of it, I kind of was. I kind of got sketched out in certain places just because of the terrain. It was just weird. But other than that, I mean, I tried my best to like get
You
out of my comfort zone.
you talking about sketched out? I did 4 laps the first time. I was cooking for me. This this I don't know why I ran the fastest pace I ever have at a GNCC race at this race. This was dumb. Um, but lap 4, which I thought we were only going 3 laps, but lap 4, I was cooked. I was done. I was sketched out by everything. I was like, I just don't want to be here, or I don't want to be out here and get hurt. Is what I'm trying to say. But what do you say?
He said, "Yeah, haha, too funny." That's awesome.
Um, but I was cooked on the 4th lap, and I was essentially just like, don't hug a tree.
Hey,
I'm not gonna lie, that's hilarious.
hey, you want to know something funny?
What?
You're on a podcast right now.
Oh, alright. Hello.
Yeah, I had we were talking about your story, and then I forgot that we had made the certified tree hugger stuff. So Andrew mentioned that I should give that to you next time we see you.
I am a certified tree hugger, so
How,
I
how
do
many
Hey,
like
whatever works.
how many
trees.
how many times have you hit a tree at a GNCC race?
Once, and bent my axle so bad I couldn't really move my four-wheeler, so
And that was the first time that we saw you at Big Buck, yeah.
yeah, that was fun. 10 minutes into the race, and I drove about 9 hours to get there.
Oh,
That's tough. Yeah, I couldn't imagine.
It was worth it though.
Yeah, I would say so.
That's funny, dude.
I didn't realize he was gonna call.
I didn't either. He's a good kid. I really like him.
Oh yeah. Um, what were we talking about? 4th lap. Yeah, I was just gassed. But where were we before? Oh yeah, we're talking about the pros. So the day before the race started and the day of, um, you can kind of talk about this a little more than I can. But we were just kind of prepping them because we knew we were going to record for Aiden. I think what was it? James was the last minute one.
Yeah, so pretty much the way that it went is that throughout like a couple weeks before the race itself, me and Aiden were talking back and forth about trying to get some stuff squared away so he can put a GoPro on his bike and then us do like a pro promo thing, which should be live on both channels now. So if you want to go check that out, either of those. But basically just an outside perspective of his race, so he can use that in edits or whatnot. So he actually has all that stuff now, so he can put some stuff together, which is super cool. But the coolest concept from that is to see the pros' perspective of racing. It's kind of interesting to see the speed difference and compare it and stuff like that. So I had talked with him about trying to get a GoPro on him, but I was waiting that day to try and figure out what would work best, and I ended up getting a chance to talk to Mr. James, who had saw that we were going to the Mountaineer race. Pretty sure it was the day of, or the day before. I can't remember which one as of right now.
I think it was the day before.
Yeah, I believe he DM'd me the day before, but he ended up like getting to our camp like quicker than Aiden was, just because of how everything worked out. I think Aiden got caught in traffic or something. That he got there late, and then they just set up. So
Something like that.
it wasn't a big ordeal or anything like that. But I figured that the chest mount would work better for James because James is a little bit taller. Dude's like 6.
He's like 6'6". He's big.
Yeah,
I don't know if he's
tall.
6'6", but he's like, I don't know. He might be.
Well, the last time that I got
6'5".
measured was a couple years ago, and I was technically 6'3".
Oh my god. Hello.
Satan's bird over here just flew in the door.
The window.
Oh yeah, a window. But since he's taller, I figured it would be better to put like the chest mount on him, so that way it would give him more room to move. Which ended up working out a lot better than I thought. And then we ended up putting the one of the clamps that we use for the rear mount on his handlebars, which
On Aiden's handlebars.
Aiden's handlebars, which actually ended up causing a little bit of problems. Uh,
It came off on like the first lap.
Yeah, dude, like hit his rear wheel on a tree as he was making a turn, and then his chest protector smacked the twist bit thing, and it ended up just backing off and came out. So
We have to get
he
a new one.
rarely got any, or he didn't get any of his race, which really sucks. And honestly, that's my fault for not being prepared. I should have brought some other stuff like the stick bits that we have. We have like a whole bag, like 15 to 20 of them, that I bought sometime back that we could use for more diversity or stuff like that. And go figure, the one time I don't have it in my bag is the one time that we actually need it. So honestly, I felt bad about that because it
Stick
could have been prevented.
stick bits are the screws that connect the GoPro accessories to everything.
No, it's this little the thing that you actually stick to.
Oh, the sticky pads.
Yeah, no, not
Yeah,
the
I'm just trying.
screws.
I'm trying to explain your words that you've made up for all this stuff. I'm
Oh,
sorry. You have twist bits and stick bits.
yeah, I speak ADD. All of you non-medicated people out there know what I'm talking about.
I'm not medicated, but I don't have ADD.
There's twisties and stickies and whatever the frick,
I just have like 3 working brain cells.
I mean, and I use acronyms for everything. That's the camera that you're watching this on is the R6, and I do the 8, the 9, the 7, the 5.
Well, those are like everybody knows those,
Yeah,
except for
but
maybe the R6. But
the twists and stuff like yeah,
the stick bit, the twist bit, and
drill
the
bit.
well, yeah.
Yes.
What do you say?
He's asking if we're on the podcast.
Oh, yes, we are on the podcast. Um, but yeah, so we met up with them. We kind of just got a game plan for what we were gonna do. We didn't meet up with Aiden until the day of, which worked out pretty well for the most part.
Yeah, it was pretty quick.
Considering,
I don't know.
I mean, yeah, considering we lost the actual bolt that bolts on the mount, which I guess it just vibrated loose or something. I don't know what happened.
I mean, if he hit it as hard as it sounds like it was on the video, it would make sense that when it hit, it like just
Well, it probably
untwisted a
well,
little bit.
I think his bars are not even, like they're fat bars, so I guess it moved it enough to where it just lost grip, and then it just started backing out because they're not lock nuts. So, but that's probably what happened. But James, we met up with him the first day. Um, really cool guy. I like him a lot. Um, and he got the chest mount. We got him set up, and then after that, I think we just ate and did really nothing. I think we walked the track maybe a little more.
We ended up doing like a little bit of a hike, kind of basically where
Oh
the
yeah, so
yeah, right there at the very end of the rock garden. There's this little like downhill bit where it's like just nothing but service roads that people have for walking trails and stuff like that. And we pretty much walked all the way to I think just before mile marker 4, right when
yeah,
it started to get rough.
it was right before mile marker 4. Um, we were looking for essentially just good spots to record. Like we checked the track the day before just to see because I mean we're gonna ride it anyway.
Game
We
plan.
we just want to get a game plan of how it's gonna look, and it was rough, but we are also looking for spots to record, and that's the other thing that we normally do when we go out and hike like that.
Yeah, I think all things considered, that worked out really well. We ended up having 3 different perspectives all together. I stayed at I rode out to the beginning to be able to get the college B their full like start and all that stuff, which turned out really well, by the way. That clip looked really good. I got Denton White, one of the 420 guy who races college B. Dude, freaking slung it around that turn. That looked clean. But anyway, short story long. I was there, and as soon as that was done and everyone was done, I got on my Raptor, rode back to camp, and then I met up with Dad, who was in the rock garden.
Before you move on, speaking of the start, you made it in like 18 different pictures with everybody.
Yeah, I was out there hanging with the pro people.
We kept looking on Instagram. Like, oh, there's Will. Oh, there he is again. Oh, hello.
Yeah. Oh, something that was really cool about that though, with all the people that were around there taking pictures. Apparently, Joel Hendricks, number 88 for would it be like motocross, but like the ATV style. What is that called?
Motocross.
It's still called motocross. Apparently he came out. He did one lap. That I
Oh
know
yeah, he
of.
did. He did one lap for that class, and
Led the XC1, which was really cool. I was like, you know, it it's like interesting seeing people that you see on like TV and then seeing them in person.
Yeah,
You know,
I think he was just giving it because, like you say, he's normally motocross. Um, I think he just came out to give it a try and see what it was all about. And
or it could have also been because of the weekend because we were supporting veterans and stuff like that.
yeah, that too.
So that's what I was speculating at least.
I don't know. I mean, we didn't really look into why he came out. He just came out and it was
No, I
cool.
just thought it was cool. He
But
took pictures with a bunch of people. It was awesome.
one lap and he was gone. We were like, where'd he go? We were looking for him the entire time, but didn't ever find him.
I mean, technically, after the first lap anyway, everyone's covered in mud, and unless you see specific things that are different on certain bikes, like you can tell, like Adam McGill is Adam McGill because of his front bumper and all that stuff, and you know it's him just about based off how he drives. But
Well,
whenever it comes to like 450s itself, like unless there's certain differentiating things like different bumpers or riding styles or whatnot, it's kind of hard to tell people apart unless you can see numbers or as they come past or whatnot. I had that issue the first time at like Camp Coker. Once the dust started going up and stuff like that, I couldn't figure out who was who.
yeah, the
So
dust was bad out there.
just point and click. That was pretty much it.
Dust was bad on the first lap of their race. My gosh.
Yeah. And then the last camera angle was his perspective. He went down to where there was a little road where they got onto like the service road and then
Right
went up
off
a
of
hill.
right off of Monster Mile. Um, it's like a mile down from where that ends. Take a left, um, go down, go over a bridge, and then come up, and you take a hard right, go up, and then you're going basically just not straight uphill, but you're taking a hard left after that and going just straight up on this long, winding. It almost looks like a logging road. Um, that I tried to get up there just to get some high speed flips. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get Aiden right here because I couldn't. He caught me before I could even run all the way up. Keep in mind, this was after my race. I was dying. Like I thought I was about to pass out, but um, he comes flying by and I see him. I stop, like sit down to record, and then he blasts me with just the most insane amount of dirt I've ever been hit with. I was like, thanks. I really appreciate that. Now I'm tired, sweaty, and covered
And
in
covered in dirt.
in dust.
I actually was supposed to get a clip from a kid. I added him on Snap because that was the only social media he had. And it was just me getting absolutely roosted. Some guy in the Monster Mile had come across the rock weirdly and like slid, so he had backed into the mound that was sitting where I was standing, just as like safekeeping. And dude like downshifted all the way to first and just plastered it for everything it was worth. I had about like I'd say about that much sand or dirt in the bottom of my in the bottom of my camera bag, just from all the crap that had like gone into the bag. I was trying to change my lens too, so I was like, "Oh God, my life savings is gone," because I thought dirt was everywhere, and if you get dirt and stuff in the lens covers and all the receptors and stuff like that, you could mess up some of that technology in there. I was like,
Uh oh.
no, I was freaking out, but I couldn't hear anything because my ear was full of friggin' dirt. So it was rough.
Yeah. So let's let's take a step back because we kind of got off track in of the chronological order thing that we said we were gonna do. Our race. From your perspective, how did that go? Is there any cool things that you did or any moments that stick out to you individually in that race going all the way through?
So my goal for the weekend collectively was just to beat my lap time because my first ever lap time there was back in 2021, and it took me 2 hours to complete that lap because
You were hurt.
yeah,
You
I
were not in
was
shape. You were
fresh off an injury. I'd messed up my knee really bad, which is why we ended up getting Nerf bars for the Honda. And then it was like my I wouldn't say like third time, but it was like my first real time on the Raptor to do like 2 hours altogether, which altogether was really rough. And that combination of ill preparation, like seat time wise, and also like injury, it was a horrible experience. I ended up rolling it on myself and got stuck for a little while. Definitely not my favorite experience. But this weekend it was my goal to do better and to push a little bit more than I wanted to. So I ended up doing a lap time in 41 minutes. That was my first sub-hour lap time, and go figure is at one of the roughest tracks around that we've ever been on. At least the conditions were crazy. But other than that, I wanted to stay consistent. I only stopped 3 times. One time, well, no, yeah, no. I'll say that I stopped 3 times on my own accord. Once to get water. The second time was because my pack had like come off. I shifted weirdly as I was going up a hill or something, and I was trying to get that back on, and I lost it because I was trying to find the water thing while I was riding and couldn't find it. And the last time I stopped, I I can't remember what it was at the time, but it was something, and I pulled over to take a look at it, and I was like, that was dumb, and then kept going. Oh, no, no, no. I stopped because I was trying to go up a hill, and I ended up getting like stopped completely. Like it wasn't that deep of a mud thing, but it was enough to like stop the bike completely, and it just killed it. And then I stopped to like recoup.
Recollect.
Yeah, I was like, what the frick? It scared me because like I went from like going okay to like stop. Um, Almost like went over, not over, but like towards the front, like gut to the handlebars kind of thing. But other than that, the only times I stopped was when Brandon almost took my rear fender off, and people were passing me. That was it. So I will say that I personally stopped willingly 3 times, and I probably, if I had not stopped, I probably would have gotten a better lap time. So I think there's room for improvement there, not stopping, and that just comes with endurance, like what we had talked about in the last podcast, actually. Endurance and getting back into a physical routine. Other thing is I wanted to push a little bit more, which added to my lap time. And then in certain places that didn't, I would normally go slow. I churned it up a little bit. Like I tried to stay in second and third more rather than just second. Like I was trying to get up higher, stay higher in the RPMs. And I think collectively I did a decent job of everything. There was not really any obstacle that I hit that was like, I can't do this. So I think I've learned a lot more. But what ended my race, unfortunately, was a medical case called arm pump. It's famous in motocross and tennis, apparently. It's basically where the forearm muscles, like from here to about where your wrist is at, start to swell. And then because of those muscles swelling, the blood vessels and oxygen getting to your hands and blood and all that stuff, it ends up cutting off circulation and stopping blood flow. So because of that, and I had a bad case enough to where I couldn't figure out what muscle moved what finger. I was at the point where I couldn't even like push the throttle. I had to manually find the thumb or whatever muscle is used for my thumb, which is really hard to explain because it was like the first time that I've had some type of injury where I did not feel like I could do anything. The best way to explain it is I felt like a freaking puppet. Like I had to figure out what to do to move. And even after the race, I struggled for a while trying to get movement back in my hands. Like just to open up the truck, I just like cuffed my hand like this and stuck it in the thing and just moved my body back just to open up a door. Um, but other than that, I felt in control and comfortable, and I think that has a lot to do with the suspension
I
and
was about to
seat
go on
time.
that. How did the suspension feel compared to the last races?
I mean, all things considered, it was rough conditions, but I felt comfortable collectively throughout the entire race. I mean, some of the stuff that was like beating me up pretty bad, I really just like got up off the bike and just let it dance, do its thing, slide a little bit, and then keep going. Or I would preemptively sit really far in the Nerf bars before I got to a certain turn or whatnot, and then just poured the cold to it once I got to a comfortable spot, and then just kept going, trying to utilize the ruts more instead of getting high sided on a
On them.
rut or something.
Yep. Well,
So
I'm glad that it felt better because it was a lot of work, or not a lot of work, but just a lot of testing to get it to where it's at now and where you're comfortable.
Yeah.
I'm still not got mine exactly right. I think I'm gonna try and find some. I think I'm gonna leave those on there, but I think for the 450 build, I'm gonna try and find some newer YFZ 450 takeoffs and get those sent out to get built.
We should probably add that towards the tail end of this. Where are we at time wise? Talking about new builds and stuff like that in preparation for races like that. That would be something
Yeah,
cool to talk about.
yeah, we can talk about that.
But yeah, that was pretty much my race as a whole. For your race, I'm very interested to hear how it was for you because I know that like my race collectively, there wasn't anything super that like stuck out to me that was like super difficult. I mean, the uphill bit that we were talking about kind of sketched me out on the first one, but I imagine it got worse as it kept going. Yeah.
Yeah, it got a lot worse. The track got way more rutted out than I mean. Well, okay, it didn't get rutted out, but on the spots where there was dirt, like a dirt layer on top of rocks, like especially going uphill, those were completely gone by the time I was on my third lap. Um, but the first two laps were okay. They were decent. I thought my second lap was faster than my first, but apparently first lap was faster. Um, which really that felt like to me more of a sight lap than the second lap because I was trying to feel it out, trying to figure out what line works best, kind of gauge the terrain because it's not something we've ever really rode on. Um, anything like that. I mean, the best or the worst conditions we've seen is Carolina Bench World. Um, but first lap went good. I didn't really have any problems there, other than it's not arm pump, but I was going too hard in the rock garden and everything past that, where it was really rocky because I started to feel my arms getting tired really quickly. I'm like, okay, I need to back off a little bit, stop clenching the handlebars, and kind of just let it do its thing. Which that's really where we need a steering stabilizer, but don't have one. But we'll have one on the other builds. But first lap went good. I guess smooth as fast. There wasn't as much lap traffic. Second lap, that's where I felt like I started to pick up the pace. I started battling with a another person in our class. He was on I believe a 2019 or 2020 YFC 450 special edition. The green, it might be 21. The green and black one,
Yeah, I think that was
or
21.
green and it's like a teal color, like teal and blue, I think. Um, but we were just going back and forth, past each other, back one after another. And where he could outrun me is in the rocks. He was significantly quicker than I was in the rocks, and in the woods, I was significantly quicker than him there. But it being um, super rocky and it wearing me out quicker, like he had all the stuff that I didn't, like steering stabilizer and better shocks and all that. He just outpaced me. Um, whereas I like areas I was quicker, he was still right behind me. But it was all right. So and third and fourth lap were just ridiculous. Um, I think it was my third lap. This is another reason why I like GNCC so much. The fans,
Oh yeah.
how they sit on the track and either help you or point you in a direction where they pretty much where they want you to go, and you can either say like, yeah, sure, I'll go, or you can just kind of just neglect their suggestion. Um, on the third lap in the rock garden, there's three main paths you can take, right, middle, and to the left. I went up the middle because there was two people on the right and the left, and this person, I saw him off the distance. He was pointing at the middle, and I'm like looking around, and I'm like, okay, just split second decision, and of course it was the biggest rock that you could possibly think of, and it wasn't like a little boulder. I mean, this thing was like it looked like Will just sitting up like that at an angle, and I'm like, okay. So I just laid into it, and you can see in the video, I just come up and wham, just right back down on the ground, and then I almost get stuck right after, and I try and go up to the right side and get back on the track, but it was cool. It
Yeah,
was that was rough.
I actually watched that video like 4 different times, trying to get the best frame to use that as the thumbnail for your video.
I wish somebody caught it outside because I mean, I was like, I wasn't hauling, but I was cooking in there for me in the rock garden.
You know it's a decent jump whenever the GoPro picks up the amount of hang time you have. Like those they're really good at like action based things, but like for anything jumping
They
wise,
stabilize it pretty nice.
like jumping wise, it kind of doesn't look like a decent jump. But like, dude, when he freaking came off of, you can hear like everything stop, and then
Bam!
the suspension and all that stuff. Also
I
a
don't
good
know
video if
how
you
I
haven't
didn't.
watched it.
I don't know how I didn't break anything. Another thing that constantly happened is whenever someone passes me, I immediately try and get back on them and go, just try and keep up. And that's also a good way to get around lap traffic because people in front of you will pull over, and if you're right behind the guy that just passed you, then you can get around those people easy because they're like, "Oh, you're quicker than me," and
Be like a
they just
train.
let you by. Um, that's how I got around that 450 a couple times. Um, but there was a few times where I would let. I think I did it to Brandon one time. Um, that I'd let him go by, and I'd start to go before he's completely passed, and I'd like turn my wheel or turn the wheels to get back on the track, and then they like their outside tire would smack it, just like
Squeak.
bam. I'm like, oh goodness, and then I just keep going.
I did that. I did that by mistake. There
I
was
yeah, I didn't mean to do it, but I was too eager to get back on the track, and I should have waited just half a second longer.
Yeah, there was a long stretch towards the very end of the track. I believe it was right after mile marker 10, going to the finish, where there's just this long stretch, and in that long stretch, there was a train of like four 450s, or no, three 450s that were trying to pass me because I'm on a Raptor and I'm not confident, so I was going slow. But at that time, I was in like the mid or top of third, like cooking, trying to get down this as quickly as possible because I knew this is where everyone's gonna pass me. And dude came around on my
Yep.
left side, so I was
Oh, that
shifting
was that logging
over.
road.
Yeah, I was shifting over a little bit, trying to get out their way, and I was still in third, and then all of a sudden I started running out of room because it was either them or the cliff, and then I tried to merge back in, but I didn't know that there was like two other people behind that guy, so I ended up like interlocking tires with the other guy and got out of his way. I felt really bad about that one because that was just me not being able to see that guy, and I really didn't want to like end his race early because I pushed him into a hill or something.
You just pushed him off a cliff.
Which I feel bad about getting in people's way, which is I know a sentiment that my dad
I
reciprocates as
don't.
well. That's what he said that's why he got off as well. He ended up doing a 43-minute lap time. We'll talk about that real quickly just so he can get his homage. I think he's still at the dinner
Over
table
there
or something.
somewhere.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So he did good. That was his. He really enjoyed that track as a whole. I didn't hear any complaints from him at all
other
about
than
the
it being
race.
really rough.
Yeah, and then being in people's way. I actually got him stuck because I was, you know, sitting on the side while some medic lady checked out my arm because my fingers were turning purple, and she's like, "Get off the track! You're gonna lose your hand." I was like, "Oh no, I'm gonna go park now."
Yeah. But I mean, other than that, my race went well. Only other thing I was mad about is I was in third in our class for the entire duration of that race. Um, but on the final, or no, it was the third lap. I got stuck. There's this creek crossing almost um, that you got to go through, and it's there's only one road. There's one road that you can go down. There's nowhere else because there's either a cliff on your right or a just a steep drop off into like a creek bed that you can't get through on your left. That's just covered in rocks. So I was going to pass this guy because he was stuck on the side, and he decides to pull up and then gets stuck like right in the middle of the track. So none of us can get around. Um, so I end up having to. Well, no, I'm sorry. The where I was right behind him, and he got stuck. And this like so. What happened is it bottlenecked. He bottlenecked everyone on the left side that was coming in, and on the right side, everyone could get by. So like I was in third, and then I see fourth place go flying past him, and I'm like, oh crap, this ain't good, because this is where he was talking about that logging road, where you're just flying down that road, um, trying to just get out of the woods as quick as you can. I finally get around this dude, and I start booking it. I'm cooking down that road, but by the time I got out, that guy was so far gone there was no catching him. Because he was right behind me the entire time. And we were just matching paces essentially. So that kind of annoyed me a little bit, but it happens.
Yeah, I was really frustrated towards like at the very end of my race because if it wasn't for like obviously the medical issue that I was having, I would have kept going and I had actually caught up and passed the sixth place person that was in our class. He was on that 450 that I was talking about. Me and him went tandem for a little bit where we were just trying to stay out of people's way, and then he got stuck at the very end of that logging road where that little uphill bit is. Like you get
Oh, yeah.
uphill and then down, and then you go back around, and there's another uphill bit, and then there's two paths.
Yeah, I just jumped that.
Yeah, he got like high sided at the top of it, and I was like, I'm not doing that. So I went out and around, and there's this like a little bit of a lip, and I ended up doing a wheelie over it, which is I was pretty proud of.
Um, Another thing that I was really glad that happened in that race, I didn't think y'all were gonna pull off, but when I seen y'all on the third lap at the tent, when I pit, I was like, oh my gosh, thank you. Like
Yeah,
I was not about to get off and refuel myself. I
that
was I was I was in rough shape.
that was also one of the best like pit maneuvers I've seen in a while. Like pulled up on the grassy hill, hit the brakes, slid
Well, I didn't even mean to
perfectly.
do that. I meant to stop like in line with y'all, but I hit it, and the way the hill is, it comes up, and I hit the rear brakes, and it slung me around, and I didn't want to hit our pole that we had just put back in the ground that marks the track. So I'm like, okay, I'll just sit here.
Yeah, you might be able to see it on video, but I actually have these like a football girdle thing. I think it's a girdle. I don't remember what it is.
Definitely not a girdle.
No, there was some. It has a special name for it. I really don't care. Anyway, it's like underneath pads for like thighs and like your tails like tailbone and stuff like that. Um,
Oh, is that what you were wearing?
yeah, that's what I was wearing.
Oh, I didn't even
I
I didn't
just
even think about. I just seen you, your dad, and the random kid that I now know is Eli.
yeah,
And
I was standing there. I just took my pants off, and all of a sudden he pulls up, and I was like, oh my goodness, he's broke, and I just come trotting
no,
my
I'm like gas.
yeah. I
Like
just
I
come
wasn't gonna be about like it was the first time where I pitted, and your mom's like, "Yeah, we got you guys a recording job. I need gas, water."
yeah. That
But
was
but no, your dad got gas.
yeah. When I saw you point, I was like, oh god, what's broke? And then I started waddling my way out there, like almost naked. Just
Yeah, I
I
was
I
like,
had my
yeah, I
shirt
was
on,
like,
but that was it.
I need gas. You got me gas, and then you're like, put it in reverse, and I'm like, started in first gear or in second gear. I'm like, no, push me backwards, and y'all finally pushed me backwards, and I just took off.
Yeah, like I couldn't even hear you. I didn't even retain that's what you said until Dad stuck his foot out, and I was like, oh push, and then I went to go, and you just like backed up anyway. I was like, oh okay, whatever.
Well, I didn't even back up. I was in second gear. Y'all just shoved me, and I was like,
Well, he did
because I
there.
went down the hill, and then I just took off because I didn't want to lose my position, which I had already did. I was trying to catch up back with him, and then I pitted on the fourth lap too because I was like dying. I'm just like water now, and I chugged an entire bottle of water, like just like shoved it down, and then I was like, oh god, I'm gonna throw up. Like
Yeah, that
halfway through the lap.
yeah, I wasn't there for that one, unfortunately. As soon as he pitted for that last lap, I got changed and then went to the starting line to go get everything ironed out.
Yeah,
Which sucks. I wasn't there to record that either.
no, it's all good.
Yeah, because by that
Um,
time the camera had died, if I'm not mistaken. We got you about all the way to mile marker 4, I want to say.
on lap 3.
On lap 3, I want to say, I think. Because
Okay.
we got you jumping in the rock garden, and then you kept going and you pitted.
Yeah, because I pitted right after that.
And I
Oh, y'all got
remember,
me pitting.
I remember, yeah, I remember,
I didn't even watch. I didn't even watch that far into the video. I haven't had a chance to.
yeah, because I remember seeing myself walking out like the Pillsbury Doughboy trying to check on you. And then I remember you doing some other stuff, but I don't remember how far it got. I'm pretty sure you got all the way to the uphill bit. Like
Probably
the
died right there. I didn't. Normally I hear when the camera died, but this time I didn't.
I get in a bad habit of zoning stuff out, so I normally don't hear. I normally don't hear anything unless I hear
Well, I
Brandon.
zoned everything out this race.
Yeah, all I listen for is like a loud grr coming up behind me or meep meep, and then I get out the way for either of those noises,
Yeah.
especially the 4x4s because want to be hit by a 2-ton truck. Just
Yeah, but I guess to end that, we'll talk about your dad's race, and I mean, I think that went pretty well, all things considered. It was pretty much the exact same as your race. Y'all just took it slower, kind of getting out of everybody's way, and
I know he was a little bit. He talked to me a little bit about it, and he basically said that in short he could have pushed more, but because of the track and
his he didn't know his surroundings, and
plus that's technically the first long distance ride that we've done since we had to replace the sensors and stuff like that after Camp Coker. Apart from riding around in the yard, but really we don't push it enough out here to be able to do anything. This is more just seat time than anything.
yeah,
So I mean, it was pretty much just like he was just dipping his toe in the water kind of thing. But it lit a fuse, and he's really excited to go run Big Buck this year. And fingers crossed, if everything works the way we want it to, he'll be running this. He'll be running at Big Buck. Might have to pull a couple strings this year to get it ironed out properly, but we should be good, all things considered. Hopefully.
hopefully I can pull a couple strings out of 450. If it's not the one I built or the one I'm building now, it's gonna be a brand new one.
If actually, since there really wasn't much to talk about his race, just because it was very short, do you want to talk a little bit about the preparation for up and coming GNCC races, just so that's kind of prevalent for the topic,
Yeah, we can do that. Are you talking about?
like the builds where we're at?
Okay.
Because I mean, I still haven't done an update on mine, and I've already got parts on the way, and I know that yours is kind of in the same boat as well. I
Well, I have
haven't been able to
parts.
edit stuff yet.
Well, I have parts on the way. Yeah, you still did you get all that camera footage off
We
of
got
mine?
yeah, we got to the point where it was where the crack is through the engine. By the way, that's how I got those people from Alabama to subscribe. I showed them that. They're like, "Dude, I have to watch that video." You should. It's pretty funny.
But well, no. Did you get the footage off of the big camera?
Mhm.
Okay, because it was we didn't. I did some of that on my own, but
Well, I still have another portion of that other video that we had recorded as well. I don't remember what that topic was, but
I think it was just taking it apart.
yeah, it's been so long ago.
Yeah, it's just we haven't had time to do anything.
Well, when school started back, it's been like horrible time wise. Before it was just like 50-50, but now it's like really, really difficult for some reason.
Yeah, but I guess we can talk about yours real quick. So the '08
Yeah, it's a 2008 Honda 2 or I'm about to say
TRX
250. It's a 450 ER.
TRX 450 ER
Um, so right now, I sent once we got it, I sent everything to Kyle. Just let him take a look at it.
at A&M Cycles.
Yeah, my boy out there. He put a lot of work into it, just taking a look at everything. And so originally, the original problem is the starter mechanisms in it. There's the starter clutch. There's also the starter gear, and then I think there's another thing in there as well that had messed up originally. But the starter gear had seized.
And your valves were
Yeah,
shot.
the valves were bad. The starter gear had seized, and the gentleman that we bought it from, he thought that it was just the starter clutch, and that is something that he'd replaced as well. But as he kept riding it, or his son kept riding it, it just ended up not working right, and it was just because the valves had fouled, unfortunately, just
Well,
because of how they were push starting it and stuff like that.
I don't even think it's just because they were push starting it. I think it was those valves were just shot. I think the valve clearances were not ever set right, from what it sounds like to me, and it just wore them out.
Yeah, I mean,
Because
I
they were
just
razor sharp in the end. There was nothing left. I think it just sounds like they were too tight of a tolerance.
yeah, I just kind of figured that would have been like the leading up to it because
I mean, it may be. I don't. I mean, I don't know everything. I don't claim to know everything. So
well, I mean, it's just like whenever you push start a normal vehicle, if you don't do it right, you're gonna end up like it's gonna click over, and it's gonna sound. I don't know. I'm just speculating based off the information that I've been given. Regardless, once we got it to Kyle and he started ironing out the details, he did a valve readjustment, all that good stuff, and then replaced the starter gear.
no, you replaced the valves.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, he replaced the valves, and then he also replaced the starter gear in it. Which when he had it out, he basically just took like a socket to it or a drill to it or whatever he said at the time, just to get the engine to roll. Just seeing if everything was rolling right, everything's functioning
Yeah, you
proper,
just stuck a
pistons are
socket
moving.
on the piston or
Yeah,
on the crank.
So after that, and he replaced that, he got it running for a little bit just to try and make sure the engine was still running properly and all the gears were working right. And apparently there was a hairline fracture in one of the larger cogs inside inside that side where the starter gear is, and it ended up like blowing up into 6 different pieces, which didn't cause any problems. Like there was no marring or scarring on the inside of the cases,
in
which was
anything vital.
yeah, everything was looked good. So that was a dodged a bullet there. But after that, as soon as we got that stuff, brought it back here. We were looking at the brake system. It looked like it was messed up, and I think it's good as far as I'm aware.
I think you might need to replace that bracket that that connects to the swing arm. But other than that, it looks fine.
Yeah. So we'll have to look into that as well, just to make sure that everything's fine. I'll probably take a picture of it and send it to a couple forums and see what they have to say, or something like that. Just try and get people's opinion on it, because obviously I'm not knowledgeable about this stuff, in general, but Honda at all. So kind of one of those things. But regardless, we found out that most of those bolts were mix matched. So that's one of the things I purchased was a bolt kit to replace the everything from the where the swing arm bolts up back, just to make sure that that's all good. I also purchased a battery. The battery that we had, the cells in it was just like shot. So and then also trying to unscrew it.
Yeah, the steel bolt was corroded to the aluminum, or no, I'm sorry, the bolt was corroded together to where the point you couldn't actually get enough force on it because the battery has lead posts on the top of it. It had basically we couldn't unscrew it, and I was just like, screw this, I'm tired of trying, and I just ripped the thing off of the battery. So
Yeah,
the battery was toast anyway, but then it was not usable at that point.
yeah. I mean, I think Kyle was the one that said that the battery wasn't good, and we confirmed that once we put stuff up to it to make sure. What did it have? Like it
Four
was
volts.
yeah, four
We had it
volts
on the
left in it.
charger, and it had 4 volts.
So anyway, I have a battery coming. And then I'm also replacing the tie rods. The boots that are on the tie rods are look kind of dry rotted, so I want to make sure that everything is replaced properly, because the last thing I want to do is take this to a race and actually start doing something productive with racing and then it break. The one thing I'm extremely excited about though is that like I put a dent in the A arm this weekend. If something like that had come up and like I had destroyed my bike or something during the race, and then we have a trip planned or something like that, then I wouldn't be able to ride that, which is like a huge stick in the mud for that.
Oh, I'm riding the 450 everywhere when I get that thing done.
But what I'm excited about is having separate
A backup.
things. Like so like let's say hypothetically run Big Buck 2024 and then destroy something Big Buck 2024. And then by the next race, if I don't have enough money to afford to fix it, I got the Raptor to go take to a park to go, you know, hang out and do stuff with people. So that's what I'm excited about. I definitely do think that I'll probably end up riding that more. I wouldn't necessarily like switch it all together. Kind of like what Pete does, where he rides his Raptor sometimes and then rides his 450 sometimes. But
Whenever the 450 gets done, my Raptor eventually, not right after, it eventually come apart, and I'm going for some more power, just a little more,
I think I need to get better at riding before
just
I
a little
start
more.
putting power into it. Unfortunately.
I don't know. I want it to be. It's already pretty fast for what it is, but I'm still getting edged out by people in
Oh,
them
you're talking
races.
about the Raptor.
Yeah, the
Now
Raptor,
the
not the
Raptor, I
450.
mean,
No, I'm not going crazy with the 450 like high compression piston and those cams already have.
I'd say go big with that one. I agree. That'd be cool.
But yeah,
I talked with Dad about that some time back, but I don't necessarily want to start doing stuff with that until everything gets ironed out, one thing at a time.
yeah,
I'd like to get to the point where I can financially do more than just one thing, but right now, I mean that's technically the point of the channel being self-sufficient. Dragging that into that as well is if the trips and stuff can be paid for by that, and that's less money that comes out of our pocket, which helps tremendously.
yeah.
Um, I mean, because if we can spin like it wasn't that expensive for gas this go around,
Wasn't too
which
bad.
actually was pretty decent. Um, but like if we could do that for like gas and stuff like that, that would be tremendous. Plus, if we use the business account, that becomes a business write off.
Yep.
technically, which looks good on tax forms.
Yep.
Which is something that I'm getting into now since I'm supposed to be an adult.
Yeah, I probably won't get anything back on taxes. Oh well, no, I didn't get anything back last year. I might get some stuff back this
I'm
year.
still expecting a check from my college. It's supposed to refund me about stuff.
Yeah. Well, is there anything else you want to talk about, or because
No,
I mean it's getting kind of late now. It's
I can't
like
read that. I took my glasses
9:15.
off.
So
We covered a wide variety of topics. We talked about the R race. We talked about the pro race. We talked about well, we didn't talk about it fully. But we touched on it. The pro race, like the outside perspective we did, which was a fun video. Go check that one out.
yeah.
We talked about Levi. We had Levi on here. Technically, that's our first special guest. So congratulations.
Yeah.
Hopefully, you end up watching this. All things considered. Also, he sent me a text after the fact. He's like, "I'm sorry if I was like weird or whatever." I sent him a text back. I was like, "Can't be as bad as us."
Bro, you're fine. You are fine, 100%.
But
I'm probably over here just like I know I'm looking around just doing this, and
just
watching bugs, and it's I'm exhausted. I was at work all day.
once we get walls and windows and all this junk, we don't have to worry about this. And if we do, then Jesus, that'd be ridiculous.
Yeah, I am wore out. I was supposed to put the skid plate on today, but I ain't having it.
But yeah, no. All things considered, I think it was success. Yeah, I'm running out of words.
Successful.
Yep, that's yep.
It was a good podcast.
My English is done
So.
for today.
I think we'll call it there.
Yep, Mountaineer 2023 recap with its final cut.